Now you can see me. Whew. Forgive my sweatiness, y'all. I thought I brought my water over. Oh, so we're that. It's okay. Ooh, wee. Hot, hot, hot in Chicago. I think the sound should be good. Mm. Got my little display. Things to share with y'all. Direction. Let's get it going this way. And I actually took my. The funny thing is, I took my stand that makes the laptop stand up higher to work. And I don't think I brought it. I don't think I brought it back home. So our guest says he locked in, but I don't see him just yet. So bear with me, y'all. There he is. Okay, Jack's here. So let me let Jack in, everybody. All right. Okay. I think Jack's on. Can you hear okay, Jack? Oh, I think you're muted. All right. So it is 6:04. I was just getting a few things together myself. Jack and I both were like, traffic. So welcome. My name is TeMeka Williams of Love Inspired CE. That's LITE for short. So the whole belief behind everything is that the world needs more love. We should all inspire one another. And that's what the company seeks to do. And we can do that by supporting each other so that we all evolve to a better place. And I met Jack out and about in Chicago. So today we are going to focus on Chicago, summer in Chicago, and we're going to touch on health just because Jack has some amazing things that he's doing that he shared with me. And I just met him and I was like, you are awesome sauce. I need to know you. You need to be my friend. You need to come on the podcast. You need to share with the world your light because he's awesome. So I'm going to let Jack introduce himself different than I did, obviously. But I did want to start us off with all that so that we understood what we're talking about today, what we want to accomplish. And as always, I always encourage people to comment, share in the comments. I'm broadcasting from home solo right now. So that means I do see the comments. I may not get to them super duper fast, but I will get to them. So without further ado, let me let Jack go ahead and introduce himself the way he would like to be introduced.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
Tamika.
joining us too.
Thank you for welcoming. That's such a wonderful introduction. I could not have done a better job myself.
Thank
And
you.
I'm very, very happy to finally be here.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for some time.
Yeah.
And to the viewers and listeners, I'm happy to be part of your show. This is your show. And I'm happy to be, joining Tamika today to kind of share in a few things, details, and learn from each other, basically. Um, so I am originally from Kenya. I moved to the US several years back, mainly for school. At the time, it was because I had won a fellowship to come and represent Kenya in a leadership training program for young social entrepreneurs from all over the world. And so I was very lucky to have been invited and to represent my country basically. So I moved to Colorado and I joined a leadership training camp for a period of 1 year. Learned about business and entrepreneurship. Um, from there, I kind of knew what I'd been, always wanted to do. And just to go back a little bit, I grew up in a very small rural town in Kenya, community of fishermen and women, farmers mostly. And through that background and through my experiences growing up as a child, I had experienced certain things. Um, in particular, the lack of healthcare was primary need that I witnessed growing up, and so I always knew where I wanted to be at the end of the day. And so, at the age of 19, I started a small clinic after a period of, you know, waiting before college to join college. I was doing farming and fishing and raised some money to start a small clinic, which kind of propelled this small idea that I had in my mind to, build something that is bigger beyond myself, and which was recognized by the program I was doing the leadership training for, so that I could come and represent Kenya in that way. And so through that, after my period in Colorado, I went to grad school in Michigan. And from grad school, now I'm a medical student, and I have 1 year left in my training, and I'm going to be doing that here in Chicago. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the community here, and I am looking forward to learn from each and every member of the community that I get to meet through this chat.
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome. Awesome. That's such an amazing journey and background. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. So I think just knowing the history of, each guest gives us more color. But then I did say that we would talk about the fact that we're in Chicago, we're in summer season. Um, you've had some great experiences in talking about growing up in Kenya, coming here at a young age, being involved in social entrepreneurship, going to Colorado. And I think that here in Chicago, I shouldn't say I think, I know in Chicago, we're in a place in this city, in this nation where we have this opportunity to evolve. And I feel like you took that opportunity to evolve yourself by choosing to come to the States to represent your country, to participate in a program. And then it led you to another opportunity,
Correct.
and then yet another opportunity, while still being able to connect with your home community based on the things that you're continuing to do. So with that being said, I wanted to ask you, how do you like Chicago so far? How long have you been here exactly? And then even I went to Summerfest this past weekend, so I have like a commentary, to put it nicely, about it. So I want to get your take, since it was by University of Chicago, it was at the Midway Plaisance. So I kind of gave you a lot to work with, but go ahead and share with us, kind of what your
Uh,
Chicago experience has been like.
yes. So I would say I've always wanted to move to Chicago at some point. As soon
Okay.
as I moved to the US, I always, at some point, I had my idea focused on one day moving to Chicago, maybe experiencing the life in Chicago. And before I moved here this year, I've only been here for 2 weeks. I've moved here. I have had times when I've flown by and had layovers in Chicago and
Mhm.
spent, I think the longest time I've spent prior to this was 3 days. I had a
Wow.
flight to catch and I had 3 days to spare. So I spent it in Chicago and explored it, and it wasn't enough. I wanted more.
Yeah.
And now that I've had this opportunity through school to finally come here, I feel that my experience so far has been quite rich in terms of the people that I have met, in terms of the activities that are going on in the community. The weather is great. It's summer, as you mentioned, and I think that is something that is very delightful. Um, I went to the Blues Festival last week, and I saw the La Rosa a group perform. I also went to the tent, the Mississippi tent, and listened to all their music, all the blues, and it was wonderful. And so far, my experience has been remarkable here in Chicago, and the people have been welcoming. I've had I'm living with great roommates right now where I'm at, and it's so I'm still in the phase of exploring and trying to figure out the city, what it has to offer, and how to integrate into it
Okay.
in a more useful way.
So you said you've been in Chicago 2 weeks now, or previously you just were like had layovers, or have you
Yeah,
literally been in Chicago 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yes.
Wow. That's such a blessing. Cause so guys, I met him at Woodlawn Tap, which is in the University of Chicago community. And for those, I'll share a little bit about my background as far as Chicago goes, and my relationship with the particular area that Jack and I met in. So I actually grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in Naperville, but my family's always had a home in Chicago on the north side. So I'm very familiar with Chicago. Went to school at Duke University in North Carolina, so I moved to the South for a little bit, came back home, living in the suburbs with my parents till I got till I got my job. Because when I graduated in '03, even though people had offers, there was a recession that happened and a lot of offers got rescinded. So I was like, I wasn't in that situation, but I was just like, yeah, there's something going on. So then the only other place I've lived is I haven't gone to grad school, but the only other place I've lived is Milwaukee, which I love, which is not far from here. It's a 90-minute drive. And I moved there just because of a job opportunity. But prior to that, as far as like Chicago itself, I feel that once I moved from the suburbs into the city of Chicago, it was fun. I love our city. I think it's a great city. I think it gets a bad reputation sometimes unfairly. But there are days where I'm like, well, maybe it's all true. I don't know. But I don't always feel that way. I rarely feel that way. I always feel a strong need to defend our city, especially because that when we had that one Republican president who liked to pick on us, I didn't like that. But as far as the University of Chicago area, being on the South Side, I live in Bronzeville. I personally live in the Gap area, but I'm familiar with Hyde Park first and foremost because of one of my exes who actually runs a tennis academy in it's still considered the Bronzeville area. So Jack, just to give you a frame of reference, if you're interested in learning more, it's called Access Tennis Academy. They are uh, like one of the few South Side complexes where there's a clay court, there's the indoor court, they have all different types of courts. They have a lot of backing. It's a quality program. Kamal Murray is the person who founded it, as executive director of it, who does an amazing job of fundraising for it, and he gives back to the community. His whole I don't follow it as closely as I should now, but his whole concept was there are many tennis scholarships available to youth, and they don't always leverage them. Like, this is not just a Serena and Venus thing. This is an opportunity to get your education funded and paid for through a sport that we could excel at, that if you work at it, you can be great at it. Look at Naomi Osaka, look at Serena, look at Venus, look at all these great players. So that was his concept. And we dated for a long time, and he was from South Shore, but we spent time there. Then, yes, through my exes, basically, I've learned a lot about Hyde Park. But my other ex, which I mentioned to Jack, he went to University of Chicago for med school. He went to Harvard for undergrad, and then he eventually went to Yale for residency. And then I stopped following where his fellowships were. But as far as University of Chicago, what I always found intriguing was that he was saying that at one point the dean or the president had decided sports was not valuable to the program there, and they took it away. And then they realized there was value in the balance. So to meet him at Woodlawn Tap, in my head, I was like, yes, I am balancing my life right now. I cannot always be a mom because I am a mom to two kids. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And boy, this pandemic and hybrid and not hybrid and quarantine and not quarantine, and you're working and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with healthcare, childcare, for me, it was just like, all right, I've got to get out and have a good time. And when we were looking for somewhere to go, I don't think Hyde Park has that many places that are open late. But to come to Woodlawn Tap, that was my first time. I was like, wow, there's really great people here who are like doing amazing things, and there's different vibes in different rooms. And I just looked over at Jack and I was like, he's not really talking to too many people. He's from, like, where is he from? And I liked his sweatshirt. And then he tells me he's from Kenya and he's gonna become a doctor. And I'm like, wow, like, boy, I feel like I'm not doing enough. If I'm being honest, that part of me was just like, that's amazing. That's something to inspire me to keep going, to do more, and to give back. So that's kind of like tying into all my history with the Hyde Park area, with Chicago and the South Side in particular. And to hear you say also that you went to the Blues Fest for the first time, I was just like, wow, I forgot about that. I haven't been to that. And Chicago has deep roots as far as blues. Did you know that, Jack?
I had no idea that was the case.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was such an amazing experience, and I met people there who were visiting the city, and that was their draw. Like people are drawn to come and attend the festival for the love
Yeah.
of blues, and you find people in their old age, and people, the younger people, and
Yeah.
people, my age group. It was, it's wonderful to see that.
Yeah.
Um, and just before I forget this, when I met you on that day, I mean, you approached me. I think I did not talk to anyone for a long time that day. When your energy and it was enough to just enlighten my surroundings, the room, and it was exciting. And you approached me and started the conversation and sharing, and I felt so welcomed, like I
Good.
belonged in that space at that time.
Yeah.
And I watched you closely again when you went ahead and met the other lady.
Iris.
And when you left, I was like, wow, isn't she such a, wonderful spirit to have, just, just willing to be open and talk to, people. And, so that was something that you left me with. It was,
Yeah.
it's a very nice experience. So
Well,
I like
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
It's not all people enjoy that. I'll be honest with you.
Well,
My
I
friends are
do
like,
enjoy
TeMeka,
that.
sit down. Why are you always talking to people? Just sit down.
I do enjoy that because now it builds this beautiful thing where I'm sharing the new experience that I have from a different country, and now you're teaching about this other new experience here in Hyde Park and life in Chicago, and then we have people like us who are listening and watching, and also, you
Yeah,
know, borrowing
exactly.
from this. So it builds a community in essence.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yeah. Chicago is very big on community. They call it the city of neighborhoods. And so I tell people all the time, when the pandemic hit, I wasn't as sad about not being able to travel, because I know there's like a fake leaning tower of Pisa up north. The Baha'i temple in the northern suburbs is gorgeous and it's right by the lake. And then you have Pilsen, which is more Hispanic area. You have Devon Street if you want more of an Indian vibe. The South Side, I don't know if I like. You have to find the pockets as far as like where, what type of Black people you're looking for. Like my ex fiance is Jamaican, so when it came to Caribbean culture, like we knew where, like which communities we could go to, but it wasn't as pervasive as some of the others, um actually my friend Dio was watching on the Instagram. I have a behind the scenes for Instagram going up right now, and he's from, I think, Nigeria. And so when I hang out with him, he takes me more into the African community, the African diaspora, and that arena. But Chicago is just interesting in that it's a big city, but it can also feel like a big little city at times once you get your bearings and figure out which spaces you prefer to go to and navigate. And there's its own pros and cons to that. So I'm just glad that you welcomed me just as well, especially because it's gonna. I'm not sure how much you've heard about Chicago in the summer, but when it gets hot outside, everyone's like, "Ooh, you got to be careful." Have you gotten any of those warnings yet?
Yes, yes. And I was like checking the temperature today. It was so hot, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to be outside with
Mm-hmm.
97 degrees, temperature.
Yeah.
But that's also the beauty because you have the lake close by.
Mm-hmm.
You go jumping in the water, cool off, come
Yeah.
off, and
But you're
bask.
from Kenya. It's hot outside there too. Is it the same mentality?
It is very hot too, but I think the humidity here is different. I think also the windy nature of the city makes it very different.
Okay.
Um, and even if it's hot there, it's
Mm-hmm.
way hotter here because it's summer. Whereas it's hot, but it's moderately,
Okay.
not as high as 97. It
No?
could go like 78. When it's
Okay.
really hot, like 80, that's
Okay.
for us, that's really hot. It is 97 today, which is
Okay.
super hot. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I haven't been to Kenya yet. And I actually want to go to Egypt. I keep telling my kids I want to see the pyramids, but they said we have to go to Paris and London first.
yeah.
So I have fancy kids. I'm just like, okay. But but I was also saying, for me, one of the reasons why they always say be careful in the heat, not just because of heat stroke, but in Chicago, when it gets hot outside, there tends to be more shootings and more just violent activity as well. So have you heard that too? Those same warnings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, you bring a very good point. I took an Uber ride from the downtown area. I think it was on Saturday night. Yeah, I went down to meet some of my friends that I've met here in these
Mhm.
2 weeks in the downtown area, and I took an Uber back, and my Uber guy, Oscar, I remember his name, was
Mhm.
very nice. Tell me how, like, be careful, and shootings happen in the summer here,
Mhm.
and we go out the surroundings, and um, you know do this and that, and it was just being helpful, but also sharing with me. In fact, I think he shared with me this app, Citizens, told me
Mhm.
download it and have it and scan it. So I've been scanning to see what is happening and what is going on. Um, but also that in itself, I mean, yes, there's going to be insecurity,
Mhm.
but I have lived for a few years in the US. I have lived in a few places. I've lived in Colorado. I've lived in Michigan. I've lived in California
Oh,
briefly.
you did California too? What part? North
Yes,
or
I
south?
did. I lived in San Francisco for a few months.
Nice.
It was part of this
Expensive there,
business
but it's
social
nice.
entrepreneurship thing, yes. And and I lived in Minneapolis also for a month.
Okay.
So I've lived in different places. But then one experience that I had this past week was when I went to Walmart. It was the first time I went to Walmart Supercenter. I needed some kitchenware.
The one in Brosnan 47th?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So I needed some kitchenware, and for the first time I was just engrossed and I was just observing. And I think some of these things you've mentioned, like we've gone through a pandemic for 2 years.
Mhm.
People have had it rough. Most people have had it rough with work or childcare,
Mhm.
healthcare, and people have lost loved ones. And then to be here in this space where um, just observing a gentleman shopping while on a phone call with this apparently I think a partner, maybe their wife,
Mhm.
and telling him what to get for the family. And I could follow this man like he's pulling the trolley, putting in the grocery, and
Mhm.
then I see this other family behind me, trying to decide on what to put in their cart, what not to put, and just to kind of hear the balancing that families have to uh, make at this point.
Mhm.
And then to put myself back, because I've lived in different neighborhoods, but this is the closest I've been to where I'm from, where majority of the people kind of look like me.
Mhm.
So I felt the experience of, oh, these are my mothers, and this could be my father, this could be my uncles or my brothers. And when I was checking out, like when I was leaving, and this couple in front of me was a gentleman almost my age, and I think his partner and their little daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and they are filling up their trolley and checking out their grocery, and the cashier was checking them out. Another older lady just chit chatting with him and talking to them and asking them, "Is this your daughter?" Like, yeah, yeah, it's our daughter, and they are happy, and you could see that sense of community that, despite all these challenges that people have had in the past 2.5 years, there is still that sense of community despite the struggles with childcare, with balancing the high cost of living, getting rent or food on the table, and losing loved ones during this pandemic. There's still that sense of community where people feel supported, and they can go out and talk to people who share in the same experiences and get the encouragement to continue the good fight.
Yeah.
So
So we kind of touched on, though, like, it's great that the community is there and you can still see that. You downloaded the Citizen app. Um, and in spite of the Citizen app and everything we've been through, we can still see this sense of a community. So how do you feel about, how safe do you feel in Chicago and any of the other places you've been? And do you always see that sense of community eventually or right away? Or what observations can you share with us in that regards?
um, I've I have not lived in Chicago for long, but so from what I've experienced, the sense of security and community comes from feeling like, can I go and ask if I need something? Can I approach someone and ask them for help,
Right.
or can somebody stop to help me? Let's say I was stranded somewhere and I need to take a CTA bus,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm lost. I don't know which direction to look at. Can I approach someone without somebody thinking, "Oh, this guy is like this," and help me out as a human being? And I think I've had that here, where I feel like I can approach someone if I'm lost, I'm learning, and I don't know what to do, and I can ask someone. Like, I think I was getting my first Ventra card at the station, and I didn't know, which one do people get here mostly. And I went to the lady who was asking that, asked, "Hey, could you come and show me how to get this one of those cards?" And she walked to me,
Mm-hmm.
and in the process we just started chatting and talking. And it was just beautiful, like, like getting the help. So I think, in a sense, yes, security is important, but I think if you feel that you could reach out to people when you need it, it kind of defrays that sense of insecurity.
Right.
Makes you a part of it, that you're also part of the solution, or you have people who could, um, be a part of the solution if you need so.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to hear that. It's great to have that fresh perspective. Um, but I also want to make sure we leave time and highlight the the great things you're doing in the healthcare space. Because I told you that when you told me what you've done in Kenya. I mean, you told us why you came here, but I don't think you've told us a lot about what you still have going on back home. What legacy you have going on there. I also do. I always take a second to do like a little commercial break as well, because my company, Love Inspired Teach is very new. Um, I have a couple business partners, but they're moms too. So I actually do a lot of stuff, and I ask them to, like, can you just take a little piece of something? And one of the things I told them we're doing, because we have to make some changes. I want us to keep promoting different nonprofits. And one of the ones that I am, I'm very familiar with, just because I've worked with them when I was early on in my career, is the Chicago Urban League, and I've applied to be an Chicago League Chicago Urban League Impact Fellow. I have my interview tomorrow. So hopefully I get in. But because I'm coming in as a company without corporate backing, I also have to invest in myself $8,000 should I get chosen to do this. So
Wow.
what I tell people is I was like, I know they'll give me credit if you guys go donate to the Chicago Urban League, check them out. I got laid off from my corporate job. I went to their solar career fair panel. And I actually did get a job off of going to that career fair.
Congratulations.
Thank you. However, I had to decline the offer because I found another job here in the city where I wouldn't have to spend as much on gas, and also it would be easier for me to take care of my kids. But shout out to Munira, she's still hiring. I told her, I was like, I'll find someone else to take my spot, I promise. So if you know anyone who likes solar energy, just let me know. Because that's the type of person I am. Like,
Yes.
you met me at the bar. I'm social. I like to share. If I can help in any way, I want to.
Yes.
Without this expectation, to your point, without this expectation that someone's going to mistreat me or like it's not going to be well received. I feel like that's how you build a community. That's how you help one another. So I just want to highlight the Chicago Urban League. Let people know it's a great resource. They even at that career fair. So when I gave Jack my contact info, I was just like, here's my QR code. All you have to do is scan this QR code and you get all this information. And I learned about it at that same fair. And I was told it's a Black-owned company. Now, what's cool is I haven't had a chance to like truly confirm it because they gather data. They gather contact information. I noticed their website does not encourage you knowing more than what they want to share in regards to their data. So I thought that was really cool. And if you're interested in knowing about that, the freebie for anyone who's new to a city, Blink, BLINQQ, is the app that I was using that when I shared with Jack all this information. I was like,
Yes.
hey, what you want? It's all here. And then you pick whatever you want.
It was remarkable. I was like, wow. Like click, scan, and everything is there. I'm like, wow, I've never seen that before. So that was
like,
really cool.
I think anything that makes life easier. Just
Yeah.
like, look, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Let me show you. It's intimidating if you don't know it. But once you know it, you're like, wow.
It's a life changer. I think that's a life changer. If you're gonna meet people or network, you can love that on your phone.
So get it, because you're networking and meeting people.
Right,
then you're gonna be stuck in the hospital.
I'm noting it down. I'm gonna download it after this call. So.
Well, so your first year, you want to go into emergency medicine. I want you to tell us a little more about that. You're going into emergency medicine, but what do you have back home? Tell them about that. That was something that touched my heart. I was like, he's amazing. I don't care what anybody says to me about him. I just met him and I already know he's awesome. So share why my heart was like, he's doing so much. And he's not even in Kenya right now, but look what he did.
Well, that's a lot of kindness. Yeah, but thank you. You're too kind. And I always find it difficult to talk about this. But so for the past over 10 years ago, when I started the clinic project, it was mainly to provide healthcare to people that I really cared about in my community, members of my community. Because growing up, I lost my father to malaria when I was 4 years old, and to have to watch him die in front of me as a 4-year-old, it was a very painful experience for me. And to die from a treatable illness, malaria is treatable. I have had malaria many times and I've survived, so it's treatable. People have survived, but to lose him to that was life changing, and it left me with a lot of scars, as a child. And so growing up, I always wanted to do something to change that. And I witnessed family members and neighbors go through similar sufferings, orphans going without their parents because of very common illnesses in the community. And so that's when I was 19, I started the clinic, and mainly it was started as a lab of sorts to screen for like malaria, microscopy malaria. But then things happened, and with a lot of support from people, well wishers, I registered it to be a clinic, and with a lot of volunteers coming in, it started becoming a bigger thing in terms of providing this outpatient care for people in the community and as a center where people could run to if they were in need of emergency services in that small scale. And so for over 10 years now that we've been running, uh, it has helped over 80,000 patients to date, um, providing outpatient care, inpatient care. We have a 42-bed capacity facility right now where patients can stay over for a few days if they need to be checked for, till they recover.
I think
And
we should give you a round of applause. That is awesome. That is amazing. That's impact right there. So I don't know why you find it hard to talk about other than, the personal nature of how it started. But
right,
this should be something easy for you to talk about. And I got a big mouth, so I'll talk about it for you whenever you need me to.
thank you. Yeah, so that has been happening, providing maternal services so that mothers can have a safe place to deliver their babies. And my happiness has been to see a family come in when they're really devastated and to see them walk away with their loved one a few days later after they've recovered. It makes my heart full. And so after running that for some time, I realized that I got frustrated personally that I couldn't do much. I was only watching because I was not a medic, I was not a physician, I was not a clinician, so I couldn't treat the patients, but I was just there to administrate. And I wanted more. I wanted to be part and parcel of providing this actual care. And so that's why I applied to medical school. And so now I'm in my third year of medical school. I have one more year left in my training. And and I hope with my skills that I can build on that work that has been started, and maybe expand it to other counties in Kenya and in neighboring countries because we have a roadmap for that and we've got the foundation that is necessary for that. And so I think that's the next thing that we're going to focus on, myself and the team that I have back in Kenya. But
You're so humble. Can I just say that, Jack? Because honestly, you say you hope that you can do it, and I'm just like, you're gonna do it. Let's claim it. You're gonna do it. It's not a hope, it's gonna happen. But to your point, I also know that we've all learned not to take a lot for granted. Like we can say that, we've got a roadmap, we've got a team, but life happens too. I mean, who could have predicted the pandemic?
right, right.
So I hear you, but I just fully believe that you have more than hope. You have hope, you have faith, and you have intelligence and a strong team. And I know that your vision's going to come to fruition, and that those other areas in your country are going to see that value and be impacted by it. It's just, I think we're all impatient as well, and we know it's going to take time. So for you to be here for the past 3 years, wanting to be more than just an administrator, just I got to give you your round of applause, your flowers, your recognition, because you're just being so humble about it, and I have to just lift you up. Definitely
Oh,
lift
thank
you
you.
up. And
Thank you.
especially as an African man in America, um, when you think about the climate right now in America talks a lot about diversity and inclusion and mental health awareness. And I think even with what happened in Ukraine, I have some friends that have really lost sight of the fact that the global world still matters, even if we want to fix what's happening in our own world right now. I have a white friend and a black friend that both were like, I don't want to worry about Ukraine. I want the gas prices down here. I don't want to think about them. And I was like, that is just so selfish. I was just like, really? And what was disappointing to me is the black man, he was like, yeah, black men get torn down. And I'm like, so you should be the first to understand what it's like to be in a low place and need some uplifting. And what I found is that it's amazing to me that people who have been in low places or are there now are so willing to help others because that's what they needed. And I know for me, that's also part of where some of my giving nature comes from, because I may present well, I may look a certain type of way. Like even when I was complimenting you on your outfit, I had no clue like any of your background. And when I think about it, I'm like, people think it was just handed to me on a silver platter, or that wow, they're just amazed, like they just think it naturally comes to me. And it's like, no, I've experienced some not so pleasant things. So I let that inspire me, and it sounds like that's what you did when it came to your dad, and what happened with your family and the impact it had on you guys' lives. And that's commendable. It's not always easy to talk about, but it's definitely commendable. So is there anything that people who watch the replay, or even now, can do, or like any website they should go to, or any info you want to share in that regards?
So we bought our website, and again, thank you for this opportunity. It's really, I've not shared this in a long time, so to share it brings memories, because I used to do this for like a lot of time back in the day before school, sharing these experiences. But to be in this space, I appreciate it. We had a website, and for some reason it had some difficulties, but we have links and pages on Facebook, where they can reach us.
Give me a Facebook page. I'm going to put it in the comments right now.
It's gonna be Mama, MAMA, Nursing Home, like nursing home.
Nursing home.
Yeah, Kenya.
On Facebook, right?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Okay, and I'll search for it and I'll post it up on the company website, so that they can get to that. So.
And then if you want to read the story, you can check my name, Jack Hisard. You can read all the media publications that have been put out there for references. And but I am grateful for the opportunity. And funny story that I would share, which I think you're the former president of this country, President Obama, when he was in office, he launched a Young African Leaders Initiative. And my first exposure to the outside world of business was through that initiative that he started to mentor young African leaders. And so I was selected to be part of the Kenyan group.
Wow.
And so through that, I'm making the connection with the fact that he was your senator of Illinois for some time, then became the president. And it has come full cycle that his work in my small part of the world, in Kenya and in Africa in particular, has brought me here to Chicago, his home, to be close to his people. And so it's like a small world. And yeah, it's just very interesting.
I say Chicago is a big little city. And have I met President Obama? I don't think I have, but I know people who know him. And I've read his wife's book. And I think what do they call it? 7 degrees of separation, 6 degrees of separation it's real. And Chicago makes it easier for you to feel it. So what are you looking forward to doing most now that during this third year of med school? I know you said you're going to do emergency medicine, which I think is in keeping with everything you've talked about, but what are you most excited about currently?
I'm excited about especially learning, because I'm going to be doing my rotations in different fields of medicine, in pediatrics, psychiatry, and especially right now with mental health problems that the country is facing. So it would just be interesting to learn that and to kind of see it in real life, but also to just learn and practice to be a better future physician to patients, wherever I get to serve, whether it's here or back in Kenya. And I also want to build a community, make friends, meet people. There's always this saying that you bloom where you're planted. So I want to bloom where I'm planted. So God has planted me here. I want to try and bloom here and build a community here.
You're already blooming. You met me. That's a for
Wow.
sure
Yeah, we did a
sign
great.
that you're blooming, and I will ensure that you will continue to bloom.
It is for the purpose of God. It made it happen that we met on that
Yes.
particular day. That
Mm-hmm.
means it's a good foundation for all the good things that are gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you more offline, but there are a lot of things that we could do to bring us together as a community and people, and play our small part in this bigger pool.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm very honest. Anyone who watches my podcast, I'm going to tell you a secret. Jack followed up with me like, TeMeka, I thought we were meeting today. I guess we're not. You must be too busy. And I was like, no. I failed to follow up with you with details that you probably need. But the podcast is always on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. So whether you're there or not, I will be there. My bad for not following up with you. So thank you for
No.
calling me out, following up with me, and letting me know, like, yes, I've definitely got to tighten up. I meet all these people. They do great things. I'm like, I'm sure I can find somebody who helps me manage all these things because I shouldn't be doing it all myself. And I know that. It's just a control thing.
You have a lot on your plate. You're a great mother to your wonderful kids, and that's a lot already. And managing all that and juggling all this, it's a whole totally different game. So
Well, I don't know if I told you my son graduated kindergarten today. So my brain just went, ooh, kindergarten graduation. All the babies are graduating.
Congratulations. What did you get him?
So I got him Chinese zodiac pendant. He's Year of the Goat, and his school teaches Mandarin. So I wanted to encourage that. And then we're half Filipino on my grandmother's side. It has the Chinese roots. And then I also got him like a hologram artwork for his room. However, when I picked him up at school today, his teacher said he smashed somebody's lunch. So it's like, kid, we're not talking about your graduation present, so I understand why you made that choice. I'm just like, really? So last day of school, why are you acting up? So yeah.
That's his way of celebrating graduation. So
Well, kindergarten graduation is funny because it's like you barely have started, but we're like, let's commend you on we have to commend you on you made it. That like you got through this first year. Now we're not really going to do this again until you get 8th grade. In the States, the next graduation will really be like an 8th grade celebration. But
the milestones are very important. You will always remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
he did graduate and went through it, and now he's gone to another level altogether. So.
Exactly. We got 10 minutes for wrap up, and I did want to let you know there are always fun things to do in Chicago, especially in the summer. But I do have 2 events coming up, and so I was going to share this with everybody anyway. And I haven't been doing the commercial. You guys are supposed to be liking, commenting, subscribing, and ringing the notification bell because my daughter coaches me on what I'm supposed to say when I'm on YouTube and Facebook. Mommy, you got to remind people to like, subscribe, comment, and ring the notification bell. And then the other thing, she always gets on me, merch, Mommy, you need merch. So I do have to share. I have merch now. So the name of the company is Love Inspire Teaching. However, we have the teacher's edition of our shirts, which actually says learn, inspire, teach, eat. And so I'm very passionate about certain things, but people can't always handle my fiery hotness. So that's why we have a blue flame. And when I told my cousin who helped design my logo, I was like, I'm in love with my fireplace. And it kind of reminds me of angel wings. So that's how it became Wings with a Fire. But talking to you, I was like, oh my God, it's very similar to that serpent thing and the Hippocratic Oath symbol that doctors use. And I never even thought about it till this conversation right here. But this is t-shirts for sale. They're $30. I can give a discount code to the first 5 people who comment or like the I'm sorry, I can't track likes, but the first 5 people who comment on either Facebook or YouTube, I'll send you a $5 discount code. Or if you want to purchase directly through me, we can make that arrangement so that instead of it being a $30 t-shirt, it's a $25 t-shirt for you. And it's nice quality. My girlfriend said when she washed it, the rhinestones stayed on perfectly, but we do recommend buying one size higher. And then we have an event Sunday for Juneteenth. In America, Juneteenth is Black People's Independence Day. We just got this as a national holiday, so we need to celebrate that. I noticed the stores aren't celebrating it by making money by selling us stuff. I thought that was weird, but I bought stuff on Amazon. And, it's also Father's Day. And for me, it's also my grandmother's birthday, but she's going to be 89, but she hasn't been feeling well. So I don't think I'm going to be celebrating with her. We'll do something after she feels better, but we're doing a poker night and art showing. So that's part of why in my backdrop, you guys can see, I actually have, my friend sells Juneteenth shirts. So that's another one. That's Effortless Boutique. But I have artwork from my tattoo artist. He made that custom art for me. I'm gonna pull it over so you guys can see it. And I do plan on doing some paints and sip events, but it's Biggie Smalls with the tilted crown, and then it says King and Notorious, and it was all a dream. And he picked all my favorite colors, and you can see it like sparkles and stuff. So shout out to Mario Inc. But we will have art showcase. I've had a few artists reach out to me and ask me for more details. So it's a work in progress because the original artist I was gonna work with, like we had some conflicts. So he's still doing his thing and I'm doing mine, and maybe we'll circle back. But I have not just poker cards. If you have kids, okay, right? I've got Exploding Kittens. That's the name of the game. I've got pop culture cards. I've got Unstable Unicorns. And I decided I'm not getting Cards for Humanity. I'm sorry. That is not one of my favorite games at all. And I got Left, Right, Center, and there will be plenty of games. So this is Sunday, June 19th, starting at 6 o'clock. I'm tentatively rescheduled since I had to find a new venue to be at Diversity River Bowl on the north side. So go to Eventbrite or Event More, and the details will still be solidified. All those details are on those platforms. And then on Tuesday, I feel kind of bad because I'm talking to someone who's going to be a doctor, but Tuesday, the podcast, next Tuesday, the 21st, the podcast is going to be broadcasting from Windy City Cigar Lounge. So when you talk about people and their vices or their forms of therapy, some people like to smoke. Now, the world has evolved to be more accepting of the benefits of THC. Weed is legal in Chicago if you have the appropriate medical cards. Or I don't know. I don't smoke weed. I'll be honest with you. That's not my vice. But Windy City Cigar Lounge, you cannot bring weed. Do not bring weed there. But on Tuesday, I'll be podcasting from there. Jack, you are welcome to come. It's supposed to be a pay-for event. You know, you don't have to pay. Just bring some friends. I don't care how many. They don't have to pay. Just come check it out, hang out. We'll even put you in a non-smoking corner if you prefer. But
Thank you.
It's at 43rd and 43rd and I think Prairie, I want to say, is where it's located. But Windy City Cigar Lounge, right off the Green Line. If you need to take the train, it's right off the Green Line. If gas is too high for you, it's right off the Green Line. And I'll be podcasting from there. I've been asking my friends from my smoke shop because honestly, they are my therapists. They hear all kinds of stuff from me. I'm like, I want to buy gifts for all my friends and my family because my grandma's been smoking since she was like 12 years old. So my relationship with smoking is weird because I used to throw cigarette packs away. And now I have a vice called hookah, which my Sudanese friend, thank you very much, from Africa, Sudanese friend introduced me to. So there's that connection.
Well, he's not doing a good job representing us then.
Huh? He wasn't? Oh,
he's not doing a good job representing us.
He thought he was. He's an engineer, you know. We both went to Duke. So I take it you don't smoke at all then?
I don't.
Yeah. Good for you. I'm working on getting back there. I had stopped for a while and then life happened. So yeah. But they say like for addicts, because it does feel like an addiction. It's like once you reintroduce it, that itch is so hard to like shake, and it's high and it's there. That's how I felt. Like I was like, oh, I knew I wasn't supposed to be, not even a little bit. I'm not supposed to do this. So yeah. But We got 3 minutes here. So what else? I told you guys about the merch. I told you about the Sunday event for Father's Day and Juneteenth. Oh, and there's raffle prizes. There's a Father's Day raffle basket, and then I'm gonna have a Juneteenth raffle prize basket. So it's gonna be a fun event. It's at the bowling alley that has a beautiful restaurant that most people overlook. And I don't know if Mona's doing it yet, but Mona's actually a grad student for not child psychology, child education, but she's a comedian. And she usually hosts a Tuesday comedy set at Diversity River Bowl on the north side. So there's that. And that's Sunday. And then Tuesday's the podcast. So I gave you guys 3 things: merch, Sunday, Juneteenth, June 19th at 6 p.m., an event, and then podcast again next week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. But this time I'm going to be broadcasting from Windy City Cigar Lounge. And they even have an outdoor patio. So if you just want to sit outside in a corner and you don't want to mess with any smoke, it's beautiful out over there. So just some things to share. I have to say thank you. This was awesome and amazing. And we will talk more offline, and you will have an amazing time in Chicago. And if you ever need any recommendations, you have my number. And I thank you so much for following up with me, and even like using the StreamYard link. I was like, whatever's easiest for him, let's make it happen.
I'm sorry I couldn't appear in person. I was very excited to see you
Yeah.
in person. But
Well,
I'm
we
glad.
can do it again. We can either do it. It doesn't even have to be a podcast. I live right by 31st Street Beach. On Thursdays, there's if it's not a reggae set, like it's a live music set. It might even be jazz. It might be blues and jazz.
Nice.
But
That's good.
31st Street Beach. But we will get together. It doesn't have to be on the podcast.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And Juneteenth to everyone. Happy birthday to your grandma. May she get well soon.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm happy that we had this opportunity. So thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Anything else you want to share with everybody?
Let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of each other, and let's continue building this wonderful community.
And I'm going to help Jack out. What he was supposed to say is yes, all those things. And please go find Mama Nursing Home Kenya on Facebook and make sure that you comment, you read about what he's done, find Jack Hisard, see all these things that he's too humble to tell you about, because that was his opportunity and platform. And TeMeka Williams is not going to let him not share his light, not let him love on us, inspire us, teach us, and help us all evolve, because that's exactly what he's trying to do with the things he's done. And I respect that, and I send you much love, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Means a lot.
It means a lot to me too. So good night, everyone. I'm going to end the broadcast, but just so you know, Jack, we can stay on and chat without being broadcasted once I end it. So